What is up, YouTube? This is Faith of Raven Repair Code. Just wanted to make a video demonstrating that you can, in fact, dual boot Android and Lakka on one SD card. So for this SD card, I'm using a 128GB Samsung Evo Plus. Really good card. I've noticed I was using a generic 64GB earlier before, but the quality of your card really matters for running alternative operating systems like this. So I'll demonstrate, for example, Android running because, well, so the original installation steps are, the first thing you do is you take the Android image for your specific SD card size. I'll link everything below. You flash it. When it's done flashing, you'll have a 2GB FAT32 partition. You'll want to download Lakka, take all the files in the Lakka zip file, and just drag them into that FAT32 partition. Luckily, because it is a 2GB FAT32 partition, there's more than enough space for Lakka. And all the ROMs and stuff you can store on your Android partition. So you can use ext4, which means you're not limited to 4GB files or anything like that. Sorry, I don't know why I'm in TouchWiz right now. Let's try this again. Also, recording this fairly early in the morning, so I'm a little disheveled. Got my iced coffee right beside me though, so the rest of the morning's looking productive. There we go, so you can see that's the beginning of the Android boot screen. So, running Android 8.1, the Switch root version, of course. I haven't made too many modifications to it. I have Magisk installed. I have the fixed Joy-Con patch, I have Shieldify. I might need to reinstall the reboot to payload file though, because it doesn't seem to be working for some reason. It just takes me to RCM and not to my payload. But anyway, that's not really what's important. What's important in this video is showing that you can use one SD card to run two operating systems, possibly three if you start doing some like partition wizardry. But this is the easiest way because installing Lakka on top of Android is literally just a drag and drop solution. So I have, that'll always happen. So I have a bunch of apps installed here. Using Steam Link on this has been really fun actually. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch with it. Almost no latency, super cool. Although I say this being like 5 feet away from my router, I don't know if it'll perform the same in my room. There's a lot of errors, unfortunately, but you know, it's like alpha software, beta software. I'm not sure what stage it's at. But anywho, so I'm just going to power off so we can go into RCM mode again. Because, again, my reboot to payload doesn't work. And power it on to go back to Hecate. May take me just a sec. There we go. More configs, Lakka. Get the little Lakka flower. Hear the fans rev up every time you're booting any alternative operating system. It's pretty normal, and it's basically a really good signifier. It means that you're successfully booting into your respective OS. And there we go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to load up a ROM just so you can see everything works. With something I was in the middle of playing. I tried a PS2 game. It does not work, unfortunately, even though the core is there. Let's try. I'll show you Animal Crossing City Folk because not a lot of people show that Wii games can technically run. But the controls are wonky. The controls don't seem to be mapped to the Joy-Cons, and I can't find a way within any of the settings to actually map them to a Wiimote. So the games just kind of load, but that's as far as they get. But GameCube games work basically flawlessly. I say basically, you have to be overclocked, which some people might not want to do. It is risky. But if you stay around like 1.5 gigahertz on the CPU and the docked speed on the GPU, you're going to be fine. Those are well within Nintendo's originally intended limits. Even 1.7 gigahertz on the CPU is still safe, but you don't want to leave it there for too long because it does generate a lot of heat over time. Yeah, as you can see, it boots into City Folk just fine, but none of the controls work. But that's for another video. I'm going to go over like the performance and Lakka on the games that I tend to like in another video I'll try to release in the next week. But yeah, this just demonstrates that you can indeed run Android and Lakka, and Lakka is a very, very small OS. Once you drop it onto that 2 gigabyte partition, it only takes up 500 megabytes of that or so. So, on a 128 gigabyte SD card, I sacrifice 500 megabytes to have 2 operating systems. That's really neat in my opinion. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you all have a great day.